When selecting a bold color to bring throughout your home's decor, it's a good idea to bring in 2 or 3 shades of that color. We're going to show you what rules to follow and what rules to break on today's SoFlo Home Project. Welcome to SoFlo Home Project. I'm Elena Capra. One of the questions that I get asked the most is, how do I bring bold color into my home decor? Well, today we'll be sharing tips on how to do just that as we tour one of my own colorful design projects. This 2-bedroom, 2-bath waterfront condo has 2,000 square feet. It was completely updated and accented with the homeowner's favorite blue and green tones. Before we had remodeled this unit, it was basically a very different color palette than what you're seeing now. It was more in the tones of yellows, and the floor was a much darker tone of a wood. So we completely flipped it and did a bright white polished porcelain floor and lightened up the walls with a very soft off-white shade just to warm it up a bit. So when it comes to adding bold colors into your home decor, it's always best to think about, first of all, what is that color? In this particular case, my clients absolutely love bringing blues into their home decor. As you can see, there's a lot of beautiful shades of blue within this living room, but I think that the main question when it comes to how do you bring it throughout a space is, where do you start? I like to start with a fabric. One fabric, sometimes it's the rug or one large patterned piece that will give you multiple colors, and that allows you to sort of set the tone. So in this particular case, we started with some of the fabrics. So I have this beautiful lighter blue, 3 different shades of blue actually, a darker and some kind of mid-tone blue right here. So that sets the stage for bringing in bolder hues of blue as well as lighter. So we've got the bolder hue here picked up with the pillows, and then really boldly here on the swivel chairs. This gorgeous, almost like suede-like fabric brought a very big punch of color. So it's always nice to have that one solid pop of it somewhere in the room, and an accent chair is usually a great way to do it. Often, some people will ask, should I do that with the sofa versus the chairs? I find it's easier when you keep the sofa neutral and then accent with the smaller pieces of furniture. Not to say you can't flip it and do that, but I think it makes it easier for when you want to either reupholster or change up the color down the road. So working with the sofa, the largest piece of furniture in this living room, as a neutral also really helps bring a lightness to the space. When you're using more saturated colors that can be bold and darker, you still want it to feel light. And in this case, we are on the water, beautiful views of the New River. And so having a lightness to it and still feeling like South Florida is important too. So the light sofa, the lighter walls, but mixing up the tones of the light. And that brings us to the rug. In interior design, sometimes it's all about getting that nice match. Sometimes it's about mixing it up too. But in this case, for a nice consistent palette, we wanted everything to match. I also brought in some beautiful fabric here that has this koi fish print. It's again a nod to almost the fact that we are sort of waterfront. It's a nautical look. The stripes also bring in that kind of coastal vibe, but in a very modern way. So I want to also mention the coffee table. Here, again, very neutral. We used a beautiful mystery white marble as the tabletop. Mystery white has some of the veining is a very soft, more creamier white, which is reminiscent of the wall color. Now, tabletop accessories, an amazing way to bring in pops of color throughout a home. And as you can see, using a metallic throughout. So here I loved this sort of brushed silver look. The base of the table, the accent piece on top, and on the 2 side tables, it picks up again with the chrome frame of the tables themselves. Now the table lamps is another fun way to bring in color. So I love using an accent lamp to bring in some just accent of color. And in this case, finding these was such a big win because 2 different shades of glass, it's dimensional, it's interesting, it adds texture as well as colors. And of course, what really brings the whole design together and all of those colors together is always the artwork. And a good way to make sure it all works is to have one continuous color. We have that blue here in it. my clients have a great collection of art pieces, so it was so nice to be able to pick from those and really bring in stuff that has not only the colors that are in the space, but it's another way to bring in lots of different colors that you might not have matched in your actual furnishings and decor. So we are also going to show you how to continue the color palette to the other side of this room and how to keep it interesting when we come back. We look at using color to create design continuity in your home on SoFlo Home Project.
Not all impact windows are the same. We're going to show you what we're recommending for this homeowner on today's SoFlo Home Project.
Welcome back to SoFlo Home Project. I'm Elena Capra, and we're continuing to share ways that you could bring one bold color throughout your home, but make it cohesive and also make it very interesting. So we're actually visiting one of my clients' homes. It was a design project I worked on a few years ago, and the clients love using blue as one of the main colors in their spaces. So here we made it very interesting and brought it throughout the great room area. The dining room is adjacent to the living room. Color continuity plays a big role in making these entertaining spaces flow so well together. It's all about color continuity. So in this particular great room, the living room has a lot of different shades of blue. So we want to still capture those same hues on the other side of this room. And keeping that as the main color, how we made it more interesting. So in here, we started with this statement wallpaper. Nothing makes a bigger statement to me in a room than that one accent wall that really kind of grabs your attention. And we love this particular wall covering because not only does it have the color we wanted to bring in, but it has beautiful texture. It's actually small woven pieces of a little bit of paper that creates this gorgeous texture. So we brought in the bold color in chairs in the other room, and here on the other side, right across from it, the accent wall. And in this particular condo, the entryway is partially open to the dining room. So I didn't want to not bring our blue theme into everywhere but the entry. So what we did here was we brought the blue and painted the inset area of the ceiling so that pops and put a really beautiful light fixture so that really highlights the color. It's about striking that balance between accenting a wall, a small area of the ceiling, and kind of rounding it out and bringing it all together. And art is always that one thing that can also bring more color other than just the colors you want to accent. So this beautiful art piece not only brings in the blues, but some pops of yellow, which you will see accented in the art throughout the space. So this is one way to do it, but we've actually got another dining area, the breakfast nook, which shares a different way we bought in the blue and white theme. And we are going to show you that. Before we do, let's check in with Mike Martinez from USA Windows and Doors and see what he has for us today.
Mike here with USA Windows and Doors. I get a lot of questions about when's the right time to change my windows. Today we're going to take a look around this house and I'll show you what to be looking for. So as you walk up to this window and we take a look, there's some pretty obvious signs there's issues here, right? You see the shading and you see the dirt. You might actually think that's just dirty windows. You might think that that's something that doesn't really have any real problems. The reality is this is delamination. It's a clear sign that the glass is separating. And in this particular case, these windows, which are custom-made windows, they need to be replaced. They have no structural stability. They're primed for a hit and shattering. So we're here on the other side of the room, and you can see it's a rainy day, and a lot of moisture just hangs on this glass, and it's building up right along here. Along with the delamination we're still experiencing within the house, we can see signs within the caulking, within areas, there's moisture built up. It's coming through the frame of the window, and it's going to cause problems down the road. It looks great. Window looks like it's been taken care of, but the reality is someone just did a very quick patch job here to sell this house. The homeowner just bought it, and you can see already in just a short time they've lived here, it's already cracking. Paint's coming off. This is water damage that's already occurred. They're just patching over it. We need to take care of this right away. Well, the only thing that really concerns me about this particular window as we walk by it, obviously I can see the delamination again on the outside, but I'm really worried about all these trees right next door. In a windstorm, these are palm trees. They're whipping around. They're going to be whipping and they're going to be smacking this glass. it's really easy for it to break it. I'd really want to protect myself big time. I don't see any grates for any hurricane protection currently. They probably covered it up when they sold the house. In this application, this home is a custom home. Every aspect of it was designed for this home. Not many manufacturers can handle this. Not many window replacement companies will even touch it. But USA Windows and Doors, since we deal with so many different manufacturers, we deal with so many different opportunities of how we can make your application work. Call the number on the screen or check us out on usawindowsanddoors.com. Back to you, Elena.
Thanks, Mike. So we had just seen the dining room, and that was one great way to bring in blue into your interiors with that accent wall and then a printed fabric on the dining chairs. But here in the breakfast nook, we kind of flipped it a little bit and made the focus more on the fabric itself and of course the function. So this kitchen originally had a half wall that popped up to the bar height. And the clients wanted to be able to have a nice serving area. So by bringing this down to one level and doing the waterfall edge, it gives you this nice continuous serving area to your breakfast nook. The banquette was custom built in, and the extra long bench really allowed us to maximize seating area while making it visually interesting with the different depths. And then we brought in the color of the existing cabinetry with this pedestal base on the table, so it brought the walnut tone kind of into both rooms. Going with white on the countertops and the backsplash just gave us, again, that very clean palette that I was talking about when you're designing with bold colors. And then bought the bold blue in with this gorgeous sort of Greek key-like fabric on the banquette and on the custom chairs. But then also bought in the white wood tone as well on the chairs and the banquette base. In here, I didn't really bring in any other tones of blue. Because we were working with other wood finishes and there's so much cabinetry in the kitchen, I chose to kind of accent more in this sort of brighter navy. The light fixture brings that in. So while the walls stay white, you get the pop of blue from the ceiling, down to the accent pillows, tabletop accessories, and of course the pattern. And the color was once again bought in with the artwork on the walls, from the greens to the sort of the reds and the yellows, really bring in extra colors. So when you're focusing on designing with one specific color and a few shades of that, adding the colorful artwork throughout really kind of jazzes up that color palette and adds interest while keeping the blue theme throughout. Next, I show you how to branch away from your main design color palette on SoFlo Home Project. Welcome back to SoFlo Home Project. I'm Elena Capra, and we are continuing to tour this beautiful condo that I designed for my clients and share with you some ways to bring one color throughout a space. So now is the time where we show how I added in a different color to our all blue and white palette. On the other side of the living room, we find the main bedroom. It's a bright and colorful space with a cozy yet relaxing feel. So in the main bedroom, bringing in a different color was important to the clients because we kind of wanted to make it feel kind of separate from the main living areas in its own kind of suite. So we're doing the same rule here by bringing neutral floor and walls in. This wall covering is on this wall and also behind the bed. It adds interest, it adds pattern without it being overpowering. Again, the key to that is when you go with neutral colors, even if it's a busier pattern, it allows it to still feel serene. And being that this is a bedroom, we didn't want to oversaturate the room with too much color. And then we're surrounded by light white sheer drapery. So everything about this room is very soft and light until we add the pops of color. So it's all about color and making that room have that beautiful kind of finishing touch. We matched from the wall covering the different shades of gray for the headboard and the bedding. So you'll see different tones as well as for these lamps. So starting with one piece where you can match other colors from is always a great guide to kind of putting together the look of a room. Now, when it came to adding a color in here, we did not want to add blue. My clients wanted something different. So they absolutely loved this more chartreuse type of green tonality, and I thought it was perfect with the gray and white. How did we bring it through? Accent pillows on the bed, the cornice above the drapery, these two cute little side chairs, and the accessories. And then we didn't even add pattern on any of the fabrics in here because the pattern on the wall covering was so strong. And as you see, even in the artwork has been such a prominent part of this where it's brought in different colors. When you're adding other colors in other rooms and you want it to feel cohesive, kind of picking things that we may have seen before in a different way. This color is in a lot of the artwork. In the living, the dining room, the foyer, you'll see little bits of this throughout. So it kind of allows it to make sense in moving into the space. So you can definitely break that rule of using the same color throughout if you wanted more of a monochromatic look. In the sleeping quarters, it's such a great way to change things up a bit. And actually in the other bedroom of this condo, which doubles as a guest bedroom, also home office, we bought in green and blue. So we wove that blue back in the overall color palette, but in a different tonality. So there, it was again started with one particular fabric. There's a beautiful fabric with seashells and sort of alluding to the coastal theme. So that gave us our kind of inspiration for the wall covering, for the wall color, for the rest of the fabric and upholstery in the room itself. So get that inspiration from that one piece that brings in the colors that you want to incorporate in a room. Next, we show you when it's best to stick to a neutral color palette on SoFlo Home Project. Welcome back to SoFlo Home Project. I'm Elena Capra, and we are continuing to share some ways to have color continuity throughout your home. So we're actually touring one of my design projects that I did for my clients a few years back and sharing how they love to incorporate shades of blue and white into the bulk of their home decor, most of it. But then we just showed how the bedrooms also brought in an additional color like the green, so it all has this nice flow. But the one thing I want to point out is when it comes to the more semi-permanent spaces in the home, the kitchen and the bathroom, sometimes it's nice to keep that very neutral while other things are colorful throughout. This Luxe Bath Retreat completes the main suite. The neutral tones and amenities make it a fabulous space to relax in. So when it comes to more semi-permanent spaces like kitchens or bathrooms, I like to often make those spaces more neutral because these are going to last a lot longer than some of the furnishings, wall paint, things like that, and the rest of the home. So in this particular bathroom, we completely renovated and remodeled it. Before, it was the traditional, more cream-colored crema marble, smaller tiles, and here we used Dolomite marble in a 12 by 24, both polished on walls and floor. So it gave a really nice cohesiveness. What I love about Dolomite marble is there's this very subtle veining that brings in grays, grays, taupes. It's a really beautiful marble, but the ground of it is white. So if you want that white bright bathroom, this is a great tile, and we paired it with Nestos beige marble, also in a polished finish. So it's very linear, it brings in a lot of those same tones, but it's just a little bit deeper in tonality. So the countertop and the tub deck top are a little bit darker. Now in the shower, we added a very small herringbone marble floor that brings in gray and white to accent what's already here. So to match with the beautiful veining and the tile and countertops, I used cabinetry in what's called a satin silver glass finish. So it has a sheen of white, but in some lighting also has a very silver undertone. The key here is subtlety, but interesting finishes and subtle textures, being that this connects to the main bedroom suite. So overall in this beautiful bathroom, we kept a very light palette. Like I explained earlier, really in your main bathroom or even in guest bathrooms sometimes, it's nice to keep it neutral and just make the textures, finishes, and fixtures interesting because this gives it a little more longevity. There are certain rooms that I love to infuse a lot of color in, and typically those are powder rooms or smaller, maybe cabana baths in a home. Those are much tinier spaces, easy to replace stuff, and you could simply have fun with it and let it be an extension of your main living space. So Overall, don't be afraid of adding color, but it's all about striking that perfect balance between some neutrals and pops of color throughout one continuous color story. So I hope that you guys got some great design inspiration and ideas for your own homes. And as always, we look forward to seeing your home projects, so don't forget to share them with us on social media. Now before we go, let's take a look at what design inspiration we have for you next week on SoFlo Home Project. We explore luxury design and lifestyle at sea. Join me as we tour a beautiful super yacht designed with amazing finishes and impressive amenities. Well, we've got a lot of great things coming up that we hope you will enjoy, and don't forget to tune in next week for another all-new episode of SoFlo Home Project right here on Local 10. And remember, there's no place like SoFlo Home. If you missed any part of this episode, or if you're looking for more design inspiration, make sure to check out all episodes online at SoFloShows.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media on Facebook and Instagram.